Sanctions were supposed to cripple China's chip industry. Instead, they created NVIDIA's most dangerous competitor. In 2022, NVIDIA held 95% of China's AI chip market. Today, that share has been cut in half, 50% and falling. One company did this. Not a Western rival. Not a startup from Silicon Valley. A Chinese firm that Washington tried to destroy. Its name is Huawei. And this is the story of how American sanctions didn't stop a competitor. They built one. To understand this collapse, you have to understand the empire it happened to. NVIDIA did not stumble into dominance. Jensen Huang co-founded the company in 1993 at a Denny's restaurant in San Jose, California. He spent 3 decades turning a graphics card company into the backbone of artificial intelligence. The key insight was simple. GPUs, originally designed for video games, could process the massive parallel calculations that machine learning required. By 2018, NVIDIA controlled the AI training market. Their chips powered research labs at Google, Meta, and Microsoft. But the biggest growth story was China. By the late 2010s, NVIDIA's GPUs powered nearly every major AI training facility on the mainland. China was their second largest market, worth billions in annual revenue. Chinese tech giants, from Alibaba to Baidu to Tencent, all ran on NVIDIA hardware. The dependency was almost total. Then Washington decided to act. The concern was national security. Advanced AI chips could accelerate military applications, from autonomous weapons to surveillance systems. In 2019, the U.S. placed Huawei on the entity list, cutting it off from American technology. The logic was straightforward. Deny China advanced chips and their AI development stalls. In October 2022, the Bureau of Industry and Security issued the most sweeping semiconductor export controls in decades. Advanced GPUs were banned from sale to China entirely. NVIDIA's A100, the workhorse of AI training, could no longer be shipped across the Pacific. Washington was confident. Without access to cutting-edge chips, China's AI ambitions would hit a wall. The assumption was simple. China would fall behind, maybe permanently. That assumption was wrong. Huawei did not collapse under sanctions. It pivoted. Before the restrictions, Huawei had been primarily known as a telecom equipment maker and smartphone brand. It bought chips from NVIDIA and Qualcomm. But when that shelf was emptied by Washington, Huawei's leadership made a decision. The company redirected thousands of engineers toward a single objective, building an AI chip that could replace NVIDIA's. The project was called Ascend. For the engineers on the project, it was all-consuming. 16-hour days, no proven roadmap, and a government expecting results. The Ascend 910 series was developed under extreme pressure. Engineers had no access to American design tools and no access to advanced manufacturing equipment. Huawei had to build from the ground up. They partnered with SMIC, China's largest chip manufacturer, to produce processors using older lithography techniques. In August 2023, Huawei shocked the industry. They released the Mate 60 Pro smartphone powered by a 7-nanometer class chip manufactured entirely in China. Western analysts had said this was extraordinarily difficult, without extreme ultraviolet lithography machines from the Dutch firm ASML. SMIC found a workaround. They used older, deep ultraviolet machines and ran the silicon through multiple patterning passes. It was slower and far less efficient. Yields were estimated at 5 to 20%, compared to NVIDIA's 60 to 80%. That meant for every 100 chips produced, 80 or more went straight to the scrap pile. For every chip that worked, a technician on the SMIC production line had watched dozens fail, and the ones that survived worked. Huawei then made a critical strategic decision. Instead of chasing consumer electronics, they shifted their focus to AI infrastructure. The Ascend 910B and 910C processors were designed specifically for data center workloads, the exact market NVIDIA dominated. China's government saw an opportunity in the crisis and backed the pivot with massive funding. $47 billion. That was the third phase alone of Beijing's Semiconductor Investment Fund. State-owned enterprises were directed to buy domestic. Cloud providers began replacing NVIDIA hardware with Huawei's Ascend chips, even when benchmarks showed they were slower. Performance was secondary to sovereignty. The message from Beijing was clear. Dependency on American technology was a national security risk, and the transition away from it would be subsidized at any cost. Huawei compensated for lower chip yields with sheer volume and a full-stack approach. A customer buying from NVIDIA got a chip. A customer buying from Huawei got the chip, the server, the networking equipment, and the AI training framework. Where NVIDIA sold components, Huawei delivered a complete system. That mattered more than raw performance. The results arrived in April 2026. Fresh data from Digitims confirmed the tipping point. Huawei had matched NVIDIA in China's AI chip market. 50-50. That number deserves to sit with you for a moment. In 4 years, NVIDIA lost nearly half of one of its most important markets on Earth. Chinese vendors now deliver 1.65 million AI-capable processors per year. The Ascend 910C competes directly with NVIDIA's H20, the sanctions-compliant chip that was specifically designed to stay within export control limits. NVIDIA's H20 was a compromise from the start. It was deliberately slower than their best hardware, stripped down to meet Washington's restrictions. Chinese buyers saw it for what it was: a second-tier product at a premium price. For a data center manager in Shenzhen choosing hardware, the calculation was simple. Why pay more for less? Huawei's Atlas 350 training system now claims 3 times the performance of the H20. Independent verification of that claim remains limited. The financial impact on NVIDIA is measurable and growing. China once generated billions in quarterly revenue for the company. Meanwhile, NVIDIA's competitors in the West benefit too. Every dollar China cannot spend on NVIDIA is a dollar redirected to homegrown technology. Jensen Huang has publicly warned that export controls are costing the U.S. semiconductor industry its position in the world's second-largest economy. He called the restrictions a strategic miscalculation, one that punishes American companies while accelerating Chinese self-sufficiency. Every new restriction from Washington creates another incentive for Chinese firms to build domestically. Each sanction tightens the cycle. American restrictions drive Chinese investment, which produces Chinese alternatives, which reduces demand for American products, which weakens the leverage that sanctions were supposed to provide. It is a feedback loop with no obvious exit. And the longer it runs, the harder it becomes to reverse. This pattern is not new. When you cut off a determined adversary's supply, you do not stop them. You teach them to build their own. In the 1980s, South Korea was a minor player in semiconductors. Targeted industrial policy turned Samsung into one of the largest chip makers on Earth. Containment has a habit of producing the opposite of its intended effect. The question now is whether the United States has created a permanent competitor that will outlast the sanctions themselves. Huawei's chips are not yet equal to NVIDIA's best. The yield gap is real, and the performance gap persists at the cutting edge. But in China's domestic market, that may no longer matter. Good enough is often enough when the alternative is total dependency on a rival power. The ecosystem is built. The customers have switched. A world with 2 separate AI chip ecosystems is no longer a theoretical possibility. It is forming right now in server rooms across Shenzhen and Shanghai. And once built, it does not get unbuilt. The question is no longer whether America can stop this. It is whether anyone in Washington has realized they cannot.